You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Gears.
What's up? Hey, y'all. It's Caps on Tap, don't you know? It's the big show. That's right. It's a spinoff. It's a spinoff of Truth on Tap, and Karma is a bitch. Yeah. Your host, Kevin Kierstead. That's right. It's the big show. How about that? How about this? Tonight, first game out, Washington Capitals. Showed me a little more than I was gambling for. I think we got a couple of surprises out there tonight. We're going to talk about it. Caps just won. Just beat the Winnipeg Jets in overtime, actually in the shootout. The score of 4-3 being the final. You're listening to Caps on Tap with your host, Kevin Kierstead. How about that? Did you get surprised tonight by the performance of the first liners? Were you surprised by some of the speed and passing work of the defensemen? And I just can't help but ask you, considering the type of onslaught that they brought from the Jets side of things with the long passes that were spot on, those stretch passes, Bogosian, Kane, stretching that ice out like a rubber band, making us look a little sloppy sometimes in the neutral zone. I was a little bit off-put by that, and yet at the same time I was sitting there and I was saying to myself, hey, I'll go ahead and trade the slack of the organization and the neutral zone, and that's all it was a slack in organization. If I can get my D guys, especially my new D guys, up into the O zone, and wasn't it almost poetic justice that Mike Green, a D-man known for his scoring ability, would put in the fourth and final attempt in the shootout for the Washington Capitals? I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was. I liked it. But let's talk about it. We got some noobs out here. You have a Tom Wilson, and you got to be careful. I've been watching this team since 1974, and let me warn you a little bit about rookies if you don't know yet. A Tom Wilson guy that comes in, he's tough, he's big, he's your 6'3", 210-pounder. He's bringing the body, he's throwing the checks, and he looks good. He's got the energy, he's got the speed, and when you've got a Brooks-like over there on the sideline, and when you're wondering if you're going to get any kind of performance out of your Carl Alsners, and you don't know what's going on with Beagle or how Hillen's going to do, and he was impressive tonight, was he not? You're looking at your IR, you're looking at people that have repeat injuries. You're wanting to get perfect performances out of your netminders, and how about Grubauer tonight? I mean, I wanted to just almost say Heil Grubauer, but that would have been so inappropriate just because he's German. That would have been so inappropriate. And yet I just wanted to praise him in whatever way his political mentality would prefer, except for Heil. I couldn't do that. But they were seeking the back of the net, just like they were seeking Kyle back in World War II. They did not find it with Grubauer, except for the one time. Now, that was an impressive performance, if you ask me. The guy, the one he let in, he didn't even let it in. His defense let the puck pinball around him for about a minute, exhausting him. And a lot of people that are just fair weather fans of hockey, they don't realize the work that a goaltender does. He's wearing 50 pounds of gear. Well, that's in the old days. They're down to, 20 now, 15? All right, but it's still hot, very hot gear. They're flopping around like a fish out of water. Okay, they're breakdancing is what they're doing. I mean, if you're a Semyon Varlamov, you're Bruce Lee. And I gave him that. I coined that term. If you ever hear that on the net, and I have heard it, that's from me. Kevin Kiersted coined the term Bruce Lee between the pipes. Semyon Varlamov, one of our old goaltenders, went to Colorado. May have signed with somebody else by now, but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day if he can keep his groin healthy. They're working in there. They're working in there. And when you have 3 or 4 or 5 shots on, they're working even harder. And when you have passing around the net, you got a smaller net now. You've lost 4 inches. The wraparounds are going to come fast and hard. Ask Braden. Braden will tell you. He didn't even get time to look at the one that went between his wickets tonight before it was in, did he? And that was fast. I mean, it just went around and in. And surprise, surprise, tiny net trick, NHL's newest trick. We don't have clowns. We don't have bears that ride bikes. We'll shrink your net. We'll shrink your net. Surprise you. We know you've been playing this way for 25 years. I got it. We understand, but we're going to shrink it on you, and you'll just have to adjust. Good luck with that. Well, at least it's fair in that everybody is having to adjust to it. Come on into the chat if you like. You can come and find this show. It's at Spreaker.com/user/truth-on-tap. This is actually the website. If you're listening to this, you would have already clicked on a link. Look at the link to the actual website if you want to come into the chat. You can come in and do that, and I'll open it up here in a minute. What you can do also, if you'd like to call in, and I have the chat open waiting for you, is you can call in at 910-NO-LYING. Yeah, that's really the number. 910-NO-LYING. I don't have the numbers memorized yet. That's a relatively new Google Voice number that I've got just for this show and for my other show, Truth on Tap. But we can talk about the Capitals and how they look tonight. What's going on this year? How's it looking? There's this rumor flying around that OV was going to follow. Who was it? Was it Kovalchuk? Kovalchuk, yeah. I'm sorry, I was thinking of Kuznetsov for some reason and what's going on with him over there. That's not happening. OV's staying here. And he may say it's for a lot of reasons. I'll just say it's comfortable. It's for the money, He loves his home country like most people do. And all other things being equal, he'd rather be there. But you can't make that money there. Not what he's getting. So he'll be staying here. We know that. Now, let's talk about him for a minute. Started off good tonight. I saw him putting in effort, getting back in the D when he had to. But later in the game, as has too often been the case with my man Ovechkin, he was relaxing a little when he didn't find it necessary. See, what he's doing now is he's thinking. He's thinking a lot like a Floyd Mayweather, and how appropriate is that with him having a fight right now? I think he's probably in the ring by now, or just about to go in. The fight starts at 9, and since it's 10:10 Eastern Standard Time, you figure a couple introductory bouts will go, and then he'll be on. Maybe 10:30 he comes on. I don't know. I'm actually going to try to catch that later. He's like that. If he doesn't have to spend a few calories here or there, he won't. He believes in preserving those. Well, there's a problem with that. With someone like Floyd Mayweather, nobody cares because he's just a giant pompous asshole who believes he's God's gift to the earth. OV, while he has confidence in his abilities, does not believe that. So him doing the same behavior is not real cool because he needs to have the respect of the community. He's not a Floyd. He's not somebody who just says, screw what you think, I'm all about me. He would like to have the respect of the community. So you can't get lazy even if you're doing something smart by conserving energy. You got to look like you're working at all times or people are going to judge you on it. OV, pick up the skating a little, buddy. Even when you're in a quiet zone, you gotta move, man. Don't save it up like that because more often than not, when I see you saving it up, I see you not spending what you saved. So let's just pretend that we don't have a savings account and we have to spend it all on this trip, and that would be this shift. Go spend your hockey capital on this shift. When you go back to the bench, they'll stuff some more in your pockets, okay? We'll go with that for now. Mike Green, just because he scored the game-winning goal tonight, does not give him any kind of respite from my judgment, because for the past couple of years, he's been a no-gooder. Got to get more active. Got to get more precise. Got to want to win more. Got to not look so lazy in his passing and recovery efforts. He apparently is. He's not that big, you know. He's getting beat up on the hits, and these he's not faking it. They're really hurting him on these hits. And I don't know how much he can take. I really don't. You know, I look at a Mike Green and I say, here's a guy who used to be able to earn his nickname Game Over Green by displaying just such behavior, but not so much in the past couple of years, you know. And he's 6'1", he's 207, but he's a small 6'1", 207, isn't he? Yeah, he takes a hit and he takes it hard. I think it's because he likes to post up, doesn't keep the feet shuffling quite enough when he's down in the O-zone. He kind of he takes some hits standing square. You got to bob and weave a little bit and try to get out of the way there. I'm taking a look at some of our other players here just to see who I'm impressed with. Rather, let's go to Capitals. That's prospects roster. We don't need that. Just show me the people. They have, let's see, player stats. Well, why don't we do that? We don't need to look at the roster. We'll look at player stats for now. Yeah, well, they're showing last year's stats, so I'm not even going to use that. But we'll go on back. I'll find the roster here in a second. Meanwhile, how about them Winnipeg Jets, though? It's not like we were out there in a practice tonight. We were playing a fired-up team. Sure, they have a shitty power play, and if you didn't know that before, you would have learned it tonight. But, you know, and I believe their power play was last in the league last year, so that's nothing worth looking at. We didn't get our shorthanded teams tested. But funny, look how many shorthanded opportunities we created late in the game. That was pretty impressive. And again, you're looking at your rookies, and this is something I promised you I'd talk about. I'm back to it now. Talking about your rookies, they're going to look strong. They're going to look tough. They're coming out firing. When they come out of those gates, they're faster than a bullet, leaving a bullet. I mean, they're looking great, but keep in mind, they're trying to get a spot on the team. That motivation never, ever lasts. Their heart may last, the same heart they show in a little bit of a scuffle in a corner when they're throwing some punches here and there. Yeah, they might carry that with them, but they're not going to carry the firing out like a bullet every game. So don't expect that just because you see it now, because they're trying to get anchored in to one of the first four lines. Don't expect that right now. You can expect it right now, but don't expect it when the regular season starts. Now, there, of course, is plenty of time for coaches to make adjustments, and any rookie should not get comfortable. But they do, don't they? I think it's just human nature. They believe they've got their spot. They start to mesh with their line. They're starting to create opportunities. They're starting to know where other players will be 5 seconds before they get there. This is what makes a winning hockey team. And if they can do that, well, then they're going to start feeling pretty confident that they're going to hold on to their roster spot. That is going to necessarily downgrade their performance some. Maybe a minuscule amount, usually a fair amount. That's scary. So I'm asking you to keep your eyes on the rookies. Don't think that what you saw this game or what you may see the next two games is going to be something you see normally throughout the season. It doesn't really work that way. On the other hand, here's the difference between a rookie and an old-time pro. You get an OV that comes out, and he came out, firing. Then halfway through the game, he started relaxing a little bit. He got a hit up high with a stick. It may have distracted him. It's the first game. You almost got to give everybody a break. It's the first game on the ice. Everybody's got some nerves. There's a lot of silliness going on, a lot of too much rushing, some disorganization. No matter what you did in camp, you're now playing a moving target. And things get funky, until you find your groove, whatever that may be. And so they have not had time to do that yet. So both teams looked a little wacky out there, the way they were. And that's really how those long stretch passes were able to occur with that neutral zone Swiss cheese that we created tonight. I look at somebody like Mojo. He's got to hold on to the puck. He and Backstrom both need to get their passing straight. Backstrom, probably, in my view, the best player on the Washington Capitals team as far as stability. That means I know when I watch a Nick Backstrom I'm going to get a good, solid performance. I'm going to get good passes. I'm going to get at least decent skating. I wish I could get more shots because I know he could do it, but he's such a giver that he's going to set somebody else up. Nicky's coming to play, and he's going to be stable every game. I look at a Shamara when he's on the ice, and I say, there's a guy that comes to play every game. He doesn't leave anything in the locker room, does he? It's all left on the ice. The poor boy skates so fast that they beat him up when they catch up to him. It's like when the police catch the guy they've been chasing for 2 hours. You know how they beat him up? That whole adrenaline thing? Yeah, you've probably seen that study. Well, that's what they do to poor Jason Shamara, God bless him. He doesn't deserve that just because he's fast. But that's what they do. They're frustrated. How dare he? How dare he skate past me so fast and make me look like Fred Flintstone on the ice? How about a little station ID here?
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Yeah. So and I'll bet you recognize that voice, and we're going to go to that in just a minute. But Truth on Tap is my main show. Caps on Tap, a spinoff. I just do a Truth on Tap is a truth in politics, truth in advertising, digging into the facts on stuff that you typically get lied to about, and that can reach into paranormal psychology, sociology, whatever. So I decided to make Caps on Tap as a fan's perspective on what's going on with my team, that my ever-beloved Caps that I've watched since 1974. So instead of asking this person that did the voiceover to do yet another, I'm just going to go ahead and use my Truth on Tap voiceover, and getting back to his voice, as promised. Do you recognize that voice? I'll give you 3 guesses, but you only need 1. Do you recognize that voice? I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me load up the voice without the music. Let me see what I can do here. Here's one. Try that. Okay, listen to this one. Tell me what you think.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Sounds familiar to some of you Caps fans, doesn't it? Huh? I'll give you 3 guesses, but you only need 1. Anybody got the Jeopardy theme? Anybody? Okay, well, just imagine the Jeopardy theme. I'll imagine it with you. Okay, Wes Johnson. It's Wes Johnson. It's the arena announcer for the Washington Capitals, the greatest voice to ever come across speakers, doing my intro for my show, because that's how cool he is. And there's nobody like him. If you've been to a Capitals game, and I know those of you that are listening that were regulars at the game knew that right away when you heard Wes's voice. It's like he's Merlin. He's like this, I don't know, a mystical kind of wizard dude. Climbs up in the speakers and the wires and becomes thin and just reaches through all of them. And then zaps you with 10 million volts of lightning right in your chair, so that you're in the wrong section by the time he gets done, and you're going, I wasn't excited, but now I'm so excited that my hair is all standing on end. How did that happen? That's Wes Johnson. That's all it is. That's him doing what he does. He's going to fire you up if you're in the phone booth, and you know this. It doesn't matter which team you're there to root for. It doesn't matter if you're not even a fan of hockey. I don't care if you're a janitor. Once you hear Wes Johnson come over the intercom, you're going to start moving your body. You may look like Beavis. You may look like MC Hammer. God forbid you look like OV trying to dance, but you're going to move, and that's what Wes does. So at least the Capitals are looking good in the PA section. That is solid. We don't need any work there. We don't need any training. We don't need any reserves. We got the man. We got Wes Johnson in there. Going back to the rookies, I'm still looking for the roster here. They've changed things. Capitals. Where's the roster? It's used to be right here. I don't know. You got team. All right, well, let's just try this. They don't say the roster, but they just say the Capitals. Okay, so there it is. All right, so they don't call it the roster anymore. Excuse me. Or it's not like Don Imus. Can you imagine if Don Imus did a hockey announcing? That would be some crazy shit right there. First of all, he always sounds like he's drunk, and he's not. I'm not drunk. I don't drink on the job at all. May have had a couple
several nights before, or at least several hours before, come on out to the ranch. We can talk about hockey, and I'll slap a cow in the ass. And a cow, a lot of people don't know this, but a cow can go sometimes as fast as 18 miles an hour. You slap them on the ass, they can do that. Yeah. Well, the reason I sound like I do is because my mouth is actually inside my nose. And a lot of people don't realize that. I look like an anteater, but I usually have a cowboy hat on, so you can't tell. There. Okay, so there was your comedy for the night. I never said I was sane, so don't hold me to it. There was your comedy for the night. There was your Imus in the morning, but late at night. So, yeah, we don't follow procedure here on the Caps on Tap show. We do things Kevin's way here, and Kevin's way is never planned. We do not use a roster. Well, we have a roster up right now. We do not use lists. We do not use a script, notes, outlines. We go. We turn it on and we go. I decided to do this show exactly 6 minutes before I started broadcasting. How about Volpatty? He's looking good tonight, wasn't he? Yippee-yi-yay, Volpatty. He skated into town to find the man that killed his daddy. Yippee-yi-yay, Volpatty. Down. I'm looking at Alexi. I didn't like some of the fumbling he was doing tonight, but he's a scrapper, and I do like that. I also like that he came up among the enlisted men, if you know what I mean. Came up taking some hard knocks. Shows up in the NHL at 26, 27, and by then he's swinging full speed. He's like, bitches, I'm here, and I'm coming for mine. So that's a good thing. I'd like to get them like that. Hell, leave everybody else in the incubator and bring them to me when they're 27, when they're fired up and realize they're about to hit the backside of their career, and if they want a cup, they better go get that shit, because ain't nobody going to give it to them. OV, you're hearing me, aren't you? You need to get on them skates. Do what you got to do to get your team behind you to get that cup. It's time. 1974, 40 years. 40 years out of the gate. Let's do it. There's only about, 8 or 10 teams left don't have a cup? We don't want to be one of them. We're tired of being one of them. We'll do this show regularly if you guys decide that you're interested in it. But what I need you to do, if you are interested in this show and you want it to be a regular thing after Caps games or at other times, and I welcome your participation and your calls, I need you to leave a note. I need you to leave some feedback and tell me, hey, this show is something I could dig. Maybe there's not a lot of people doing a Caps show that comes from a fan perspective, and maybe that show is not at a good time for you, and maybe it doesn't have call-ins or text chats, and maybe they're not covering the topics you care about. Maybe I've got a bit of an insight into what people are thinking about on the Caps fan base. So something to consider, but I need to hear from you, because if I'm not getting feedback, I'm assuming nobody's listening to it, I mean, I look at the listens. My first Caps episode definitely got some listens, but I'm not hearing feedback. I need to hear if you like it or not. And what should I do? You want me to change some things? You want me to include specials in the show? I can do that. We'll do that democratic thing. Let's see. Okay, so I got the roster up here, and I was looking at. Oh lordy, I got so many questions, and there's only a half hour in the show. Gosh. Braden, I have faith in Braden. Look at a goalie's numbers. If they're a 902, they're a 902. They're going to stop 9 out of 10 shots. Call it a fucking day. I mean, that's the end of that. One game they're going to let in 5, then they're going to have 3 shutouts. It's just the way it's going to go. It's just the way it's going to go. Although not predictable over a series of games, fully predictable over a season, if healthy. Rarely do you see a goalie just knock you off your socks if he wasn't good last year, or vice versa. Pretty predictable in net there, and I think we're pretty solid. Grubauer's got something to prove, so he may show a little bit of extra glove flash. He may have the wickets doing the wickety whack, a little bit of break dance in there, trying to look super fly in the net like that, like he did tonight. I was impressed. I think we're good in. I think we're good in net. And if you didn't realize it from what I said before, I will confess that I wish we had held on to Varlamov. I believe he's a special kid. I know he didn't finish that great last year, but I believe he's just one of those guys. I see it in him. He's just got it, man. He's got all kinds of special stuff that he's bringing to net, and he's just got to develop it. He's still too young. Some people do not agree with me about that, and we've had a lot of arguments over it. I've argued with people over Theo. I never had a lot of faith in Theo. I couldn't have a lot of faith in Theo. I felt terrible about what happened to him in his personal life, and I would have given him the shirt off my back. But just because I feel for someone, I can't want them on my team doing an important job. He just wasn't the right man for the job for me, and I think Bruce was giving him a gift half the time by getting him in net. And he was not performing well, and who could blame him? But still, you can blame Bruce for putting him in. But those are olden days. Those are olden days. We're in the days of Oates. We're in the days of Oleksy dropping the gloves. We're in the days that, Erskine is the enforcer. I mean, Johnny Erskine is our enforcer. We're in a new age, Capitals fans. We are in a new set of circumstances here, and we need to accept that and roll with it. What can we do as fans? Nothing, really. I mean, what are you going to do? Stop buying merchandise if you're not impressed? Stop buying game tickets? Just support your team. And if you do come on the show, please don't bash too hard. These guys got to the pros, so they're already pretty freaking good, in my view. Somebody whiffs on a shot or two in a game, I'm not going to beat them up. I mean, I hate that. The first sign that you're dealing with a new fan, let me tell you how to identify a new fan. They get pissed off at their team. Oh, they get mad, don't they? Yeah, they really do. They get angry. Oh, they get outraged. And if you know that team performed pretty decently, but lost, and this fan is coming to you and they're outraged, you got a new fan there. Yeah, you got an amateur. Don't be fooled. Ask him to name 10 players on the team. He probably won't be able to name 3. And that's how you shut him up. Because anybody that knows anything about this sport has a little bit more empathy than being willing to jump on somebody because they fell down while skating in the shootout. Shit happens, okay? It's a hard game. Your legs are tired. I have never played hockey, but I don't have to. I played every other sport you can imagine. I played all 4 years of high school football. I played 7 years of baseball, 5 years of basketball. Hockey, we didn't have an ability to play it where I grew up in southeastern Virginia, and we just didn't have anything out here. They just opened a rink when I was about 25 years old over there in Yorktown, Virginia, about an hour away from where I am, and we just didn't have the opportunity. So I would have played, guarantee you. Always loved it. I'd catch myself outside with a friend, goddamn crushed beer can and 2 brooms, making an ice patch when it would finally freeze in southeastern Virginia. We were playing our hockey that way, playing some frickin' broom ball. So, but I know what the skate. I've definitely done the skating at the rinks, and I know what it does to your thighs. I know how your legs feel after a shift. Yeah, God knows I know what the hits feel like because I played football so much. You throw some hits in with some fatigue, and you're wondering how you're vertical half the time. Somebody hits a crease in the ice and catches an edge, they're going to fucking fall on their face. So what? You don't go on, I can't believe that dumbass fell down in the shootout. You go do it. You go do it. And don't fall down, whatever you do. Yeah, so don't come on the show bashing everybody. You can be upset. I understand that. I get upset at them. But don't come bashing. Don't come with that evil. Man, Caps fans, we don't need to give them any evil. Well, that's the last thing we need to give our team. We need to give them some I don't know, a little bit of wind in their sails. Something other than evil. Maybe constructive criticism, but let's point out what they're doing right. Let's believe in our team this year. And on that note, we are coming up to the end of the show. And so what I will do is just go ahead and give you an update. I think what we're going to plan on doing is we will plan on doing Caps on Tap after every game or after every other game. And that's up in the air right now. We're going to see what your feedback looks like. Please comment on this and let me know how you're feeling about it.
And just remember what you've been listening to and who.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
And I want to thank you for tuning in tonight, my fellow Capitals fans. Peace and outie.